eater. An uncircumcised penis?
No.
Isn't that what you call it?
That
is beginning to look a lot like Commander Christmas. Commander 2018 in every store. But the prettiest sight to see is subjective reality sitting at your front door.
Woo! It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Bet you don't know who it's by.
Jack Frost.
Pretty close. It starts with a J. Johnny Mathis, which I wouldn't have got that anyway.
Yeah. Famous dude.
So, figured it would fit with this.
Perfect. Yeah.
I was having trouble not singing it while we were doing our first. This is
especially since you brought up Christmas.
Yeah. I actually had a couple Christmas ones. I didn't do the normal Christmas song because I was like, oh, Larry might actually do that on episode 24. So I'm gonna.
I'm not that clever.
Welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
It has not stopped for us because this is. I'm Adam Smith, by the way.
I'm Larry Smith, by the way.
We did the cousins before. I guess we're cousins still. It's kind of weird doing it twice in one night.
We could do it. No. We're cousins. You can't back out of it. You can't just not say it.
I already said it earlier tonight, so I mean everybody's hearing this.
This is a different episode.
Couple...
They don't know that. This is not a to be continued or anything. People have waited.
So this is episode 25, episode 24 point.
Oh, this is 25.
24.12.
We're releasing it separately.
Yeah.
String people along with our knowledge
of stuff and things.
More the things than stuff, but that's all right.
You can follow us on Twitter at CommanderSmiths, and like we said last week, you can hear our Insta specs, except it's really this week. Whatever. I'm gonna stop doing that.
We're just gonna drill it. We're gonna say it.
We're gonna drill it.
Drill it. Say it. And then you can email us at CommanderSmiths@gmail.com.
And YouTube us. I don't know how you YouTube us. You just follow.
I think you just
subscribe.
MTG
or
CommanderSmiths
and tell other people about it. That's how you YouTube
Again,
us.
You don't have to. It's probably better just to keep
keep it to yourself. We're your own little private voices.
We're not their private anything. This is for the public.
Hello.
But you just Adele. Oh my.
This week's episode. Did I already say it's episode 25? I did, yes, because I did the point whatever. All right. So this week's episode, we're gonna have kind of our gripes in the beginning.
Yeah, we're gonna gripe
a little bit. We're gonna do old fogey griping back in my day, but nothing's gonna be back in our day.
Want to do that, yeah.
But that's griping, and then we're gonna finish.
That's what griping sounds like.
Exactly, and then we're gonna finish off the episode, which is gonna be the entire episode, like last time, with the last two decks that were spoiled.
Yeah, so we're gonna do the Jund one that was supposedly about lands.
Yeah. Which they left out a lot of stuff, but whatever.
All right.
And then also mixed in there, like we did last episode, is we will have our cards to kind of watch or spec on. So that's kind of our Smith specs for this.
Smith spec of the deck.
There we go. I'm glad you said it.
You're staring at me like, say it.
Say it. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
So why don't we start off with our
complaints.
I
got plenty.
All right, list them off.
I don't want to. Back in my day, okay.
Back in my day.
So I have a
stay off the lawn.
Probably the biggest problem that I have with wizards in general when they're doing like
their
products
staffs.
like this. Their what?
Their
wizard staffs? No, I don't think they drink that much. It's a fun game. Look it up. And so, but I hate it when they reprint something that they already reprinted recently.
Yeah.
Like,
not like reprint
it's
and then
fine
reprint
to
years
reprint
later.
cards that are good, but like when you're just getting bad card after bad card, and then like so like I'll use the example of the red blue Saheeli deck has a bunch of cards from the recent dual decks that was like Inventors versus Goblins or whatever shit.
What did you count? 22 cards of reprints?
Yeah, there's at least 10
within
reprints
the
within the last year, or the last
2 years.
Since Kaladesh, within the last 2 years, there's at least 10 reprints in each deck.
That's crazy.
The Saheeli one is 20 plus. And that one just, like, that's what the one that kind of tipped me off. I was just like, I get it. Like, they have a ton from Kaladesh because Saheeli's from Kaladesh. It's a recent artifact thing. But, like, You can go to Esper, which is an artifact. Maybe it's off 2 colors, but there's blue in there.
Yeah.
And I think they pulled like 1 card from there. You have the Mirrodin and the Scars of Mirrodin. You have stuff to pull from, and I just feel like they didn't really go very deep.
Do you think that's kind of why they did the spoiling that they did this year? This was kind of a weird spoil because they
just do it all in 1 week.
Yeah, they did it. Well, in previous years, you'd get was it Mirari's Wake or whatever? You'd get the ones that are actually expensive reprints along with the spoilers of the new stuff. They kind of mixed it in where it was like, okay, they're showing us the new cards each day, and actually Goldfish had some of the reprints, whereas Salvation wasn't necessarily posting that as much as Goldfish was.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, they showed us all the new cards. Okay, let's see what they're reprinting. And then it was like, nope, here's all the deck lists.
Here's everything.
Yeah, so it was like,
kind of like,
now you don't get pissed about it. You're not supposed to get pissed about it. But it is kind of weird because they didn't do that before. It was always...
And again, I'm okay with like commons. I understand that they're not going to put, $10 cards at every card. But like, I just don't... Give me something more original than what you just did 2-3 months ago in the Inventors dual deck. Like,
do it a shitty common or whatever that matches that's from a couple years ago that you might not necessarily 4+ years ago.
You could have touched on Antiquities.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make fun of me on that one?
You didn't say it wrong that time.
I never said it wrong.
Yeah, you did. We're gonna go back and leave.
Antiquities.
I'm gonna plug it in this part.
Antiquities.
Antiquities. You did Tink or something like that.
Pretty sure that like I can.
I'm gonna cut this up and it's gonna be right there, right afterwards. Here's what Lowry said the original time. Now you said it right. You said Antiquities, and like I said, I shouldn't be the one correcting you. I just have never heard anybody say it that way.
Right.
Antiquities.
Antiquities. Hello, cat.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
You stealing? That's my song. It's a great song.
That was from a week ago.
All right. Did you want to take your turn on a grape?
Do you have more grapes?
Oh, I have like 2 more at least.
Go ahead on another one. Mine's just more. Mine is more.
Oh, the TCG thing. Yeah. Okay. So another one, like another gripe that I have is that they missed a ton of just like easy staples that are normally there, and then they just didn't put it in there for some reason. I'll just list off stuff that went off the top of my head that they just are easily putting in. Solemn Simulacrum, Lightning Greaves, Thought Vessel, Thrawn Dynamo, Skull Clamp. These things are pretty basic, and they're good.
Yeah.
And so, like, even though you've gotten a bunch of reprints, even though I just bitched about reprints, as long as they're good, I think it's fine.
Yeah. One thing we talked about off the air or whatever, off mic, is Command Beacon was one.
Yeah.
And they've only printed that once, and it wasn't in all the decks. It was in just one deck.
And it's fine to reprint every once in a while because you're only going to get that in a Commander product. Why not do it more than once?
Their solution is make it a Judge foil promo.
Make it harder to get. Yeah, and then like Homeward Path is another example of something that goes in the Commander product really well. And
I will say with Lightning Greaves, I feel like they switch off year to year. I feel like one year they have Lightning Greaves in the set, and then the next year they take it off and they don't put it in the set, and they switch it with Swift Boots.
Swiftfoot Boots. Well, last year they had Greaves and Boots.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Greaves, they almost flip-flop every other year. I've noticed. I noticed it's not in every single... But I agree. I feel like a lot of the reprint stuff they missed the target on. They didn't reprint things that could have helped make the prices go down a little bit.
Pilgrim's Eye in 2 decks, and they had Solemn Simulacrum there, and then they went, nah, let's put Pilgrim's Eye. Let's show them how good that card is. And then you're just like, why not just put Solemn in there? Solemn is a great card. It's a quality card. I have more than enough of them, and I wouldn't mind more.
Yeah.
I mean,
you put Soul Ring in every single one of your decks, and Soul Ring still stays at its frickin' $3-4 card.
And again, you don't have to put Solemn in every deck. You just should print it once a year in your Commander product somewhere.
Yeah. I agree. I think maybe what they were thinking is that maybe all these new cards are going to be so expensive that they can't put some of these other staples in.
That's Wizards being pretty cocky.
Yeah.
I mean...
We'll see how the prices go with everything. Because they're like, oh, it's Planeswalkers, and they're going to be in... It looks like to me from the packaging they're going to be in foil, and they've been doing the foil.
They probably will be in foil, yeah.
So
that's still. But if it's the only printing, the foil part, I mean, it's more desirable. But if you
It's
want
only-
the card, it's the only way
printing.
you can get
Yeah,
it. So it's like, I want Atraxa non-foil. Well, too bad.
Damn it. And then what's your third one?
There's like no other legends other than new ones in this set, and they always. I feel like they're. Like you kind of got to look at what are they gearing these towards. They want people to get into Commander. They want people to get into it, and so they're trying to create like easier format. Like these aren't too complex most of the time.
Yeah,
and I get that, and that's again perfectly fine. But like you should be trying to get them more legends.
Yeah.
So that they have more cards to work with, more cards to play with. It shouldn't just be the 3 or 4 that you're highlighting. I think off the top of my head, the only one was in the Enchantment deck, which is Daxos of Meletus. And it's blue-white, and that's again, fine. It works well in an Enchantment or a deck. But, like, where are the other legends? In the past, there was, like, double digits.
Yeah.
Every year reprinted. And it's just
I may play, not devil's advocate, but maybe what they were thinking is that, and they always are trying to get new players in and everything, but maybe they were trying to make it so that new players would only focus on those 4 commanders and really focus on, because they made them very different, like not very different, but you can make sub decks with those, and they wanted to focus more of their energy on that.
You could always do that.
I know, but this almost seems more like these are, you can go off on their own, the 4 of them. I don't know. I agree with you, but I'm just trying to say, like, maybe that's why they didn't print as many other legendaries. I don't know. I have no idea why they didn't play.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels a little bit out of character. Like, it feels like they tried to change it up, and then they just changed it up in a bad way with the things that I just pointed out. Like, getting rid of the staples that would help people out that are brand new.
That one I totally agree with.
Getting rid of legends.
That's some of the... why we buy the boxes of these, because I'm like, it wouldn't hurt to have multiple copies of things I already have.
Yeah.
But then they didn't print really a lot of them that are good to have. Like, I'm like, oh man, I don't need all this crap. There's a lot of crap that's in there.
Yeah. And then the only other like real gripe that I have is like they really didn't put a whole ton of like older cards in there. It'd be nice to get some. That's where like the variety would come in, is if they sat down and actually looked at past sets. Like I feel like a handful of cards were reprinted that were older than Mirrodin.
Yeah.
And like I feel like my nephew could build these decks.
Yeah, because
that doesn't play Magic. He could just I'm only going to go back so far because I don't want to work that hard.
Yeah,
that's what I felt like happened with a lot of these reprinted cards.
The reprints, the new stuff is pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, the new, and that's where I'm excited, is that I think they did a really good job with the new cards. Mm-hmm. There are only a couple where I'm like, why did they make this? When generally there's like a handful of cards where I'm like, these are just bad.
Pretty much, pretty much all the new stuff is
pretty solid.
Yeah, we talked about the last episode, pretty much all the cards we liked. There was a couple of them that were hemming and hawing on, but other than that, they're all pretty decent cards. So my only gripe has nothing to do with the Commander set in general. It was the process of, it was more on TCG with stuff. And so I guess this is going to be more of another tip.
Just the tips.
Just the tip for you. When you're buying, and you're buying a hot card that's going crazy and everybody's buying it, TCG, I've had it happen quite a bit, where you'll buy the card and then they have to refund you later because they oversold it, the store or whatever, because of they have it on multiple platforms, including their own store or whatever, and they sell out and then they end up refunding you. So I've never had a problem with eBay. eBay, what's on eBay is on eBay. They don't like put it on eBay and then also put it on TCG, from what I know. And so when you buy it there, it comes to you. So I bought half of my stuff from TCG and half of it from eBay. I had 5 of my cards, which were pretty expensive ones that I wanted, that actually just jumped like crazy. Half of those are coming back to me, or the money's coming back because they weren't in stock. Have it. And that's not the first time it's happened. It's when you have a hot card and they're selling out like crazy. All these stores have it on multiple sites. So I understand
that could happen. Yeah. And so what did you kind of learn from that, or have learned in the past?
Sometimes actually what I do is I buy over of what I'm thinking. If it's a really hot card, I'll buy more than, like if I'm like, I want 10 of these, I'll find like 14 of them or 15, 16
Just
of them.
expecting not to get them all.
Yeah, because it happens more often than you'd think. Like when I've done that, almost every single time when I do a big order like that where I'm buying 50 plus cards at once, a lot of times I get refunded. And so I had 2 of them today. It was from...
I've had it where they, on TCG, where they, like, I've just been going through and buying cards, not hot cards at all, and they go, not in stock anymore. And you're like, what?
Because somebody's buying it.
Just because somebody bought it before I did.
So yeah, I kind of mentioned that on the last episode too, is that when you're buying it, if it's a really hot card, just check out right away if you can.
Check out as fast as you can, go back, and
as
just
long as
try
you
and
have
do a bunch of checkouts. Just try and get what you can.
Yep, because that's, I mean, I was 5 minutes buying those, the Ninja specs that we were doing, and they were already sold out. I think it was 10 cards at least. Like, I remember my order was at, what, 140 something. No, it was probably close to 200, and then when I went to go check out, it was down to 140, and I was like, God damn it, no! There's $50 worth of cards that is gone. But then, like I said, then I got returned $30 worth because of people not keeping their stock up, or, it was too hot of a card. So, not saying don't go to TCG, but I'm finding myself trying to find the deals on eBay more lately because there's a lot of benefit with it. You don't have the sales tax right now. You don't have the sales tax. That might change here soon. You also get eBay bucks, which you can use in a couple months. It goes every 3 months or something like that.
Okay.
And then I've never had them say they're out of stock. Like, they have it there. That's what they have. So that's my more of a gripe with TCG, but it's not the site itself. It's more of the store owners keeping up with their inventory on hot items. Why don't we move into our first Commander set, which is called Nature's Vengeance.
And this is a Jund version colors for the deck.
So our first one, we got more cats again.
I'm going to be honest. So the commander's name is Lord Windgrace.
I like the picture in this one.
He's okay, but my problem is I always want to call him Mace Windu, which is a character from Star Wars.
Oh.
That was Samuel L. Jackson's character
Gotcha.
from the movies. I don't know why.
Why? Because he's
Windu.
black?
No.
Gosh, Lowry. I can't take you
That's
anywhere.
pretty bad, though, too.
I'm talking about the cat. It's a black cat.
Yeah. I don't think he always was, though. So, Lord
What
Windgrace,
Lord
Windgrace is actually like an old character.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, which one are we talking about now? I don't think Samuel L. Jackson was. It's like he did the Michael Jackson approach, except he went the other way. He was white, and then no,
I don't think that's
he did
possible.
blackface.
That's silly. That's real bad.
Yeah,
that's real bad. So Lord Windgrace is an older character. Like, from what I was hearing, I didn't actually look this up. I had a friend tell me like. He actually went back to Urborg.
Gonna go back in time.
I think he's from Urborg, which is where the infect guys are from. Why am I blanking on it?
Phyrexia?
Yeah, Phyrexia was. And he went in there and just fucked shit up. So, like, he was able to beat Phyrexia in his home, like, back at Urborg. But then he left, and then they obviously kind of, like, overran everything again.
And now he's a planeswalker.
And I think he's actually the character that's on the card Planeswalker's Fury, which is an enchantment from, like, Planeshift. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but...
Lore time with Lowry.
Yeah, so I didn't look up a whole ton of it, but he's a pretty cool, powerful character. And so we should actually see what he does.
Yeah, you gave the most backstory. This one's Lowry's favorite because he gave the huge backstory.
I really liked. I think I like Aminatou best at this point. But,
yeah.
Do you want me to read, or you got this?
You gave the backstory. You might as well read that bad boy.
Let's just Lowry talk more.
I don't want to spoil this. You guys have a moment.
Lord Windgrace, 2 colorless, black, red, green, 5 loyalty. His +2, discard a card, then draw a card. If a land card is discarded this way, draw an additional card. Feel like that's pretty sweet. You can -3 him to return up to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, which also seems pretty good. Then you can -11, destroy up to 6 target non-land permanents, then create 6 2/2 green cat warrior creature tokens with Forest Walk.
Cat warriors.
Cat warrior.
2/2 Forest Walk's back in play. Haven't seen Forest Walk in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cat thing. You know, they creep through the trees. And I don't know. I mean, the ultimate seems pretty tough to get to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I.
Well,
again,
the +2 is pretty sweet. I like the +2 and the -3 are pretty good.
You're able to filter out land, get rid of lands.
This
and draw
with
extra
Get
cards.
Rog is pretty ridiculous.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Get Rog is really good with Lord Windgrace. And that's
foreshadowing.
Maybe. I don't know if we actually talk about it.
Yeah.
So this could be a landfall kind of deck.
Yeah.
I
like it. I'm excited to play with this guy.
I think he's going to be really cool. Yeah. I'll definitely be playing him somewhere. I don't know if he's going to be a commander or not for me, but he'll definitely fit into decks.
Yeah. I dig it. So then we move into our new stuff. So first legendary creature. This one's pretty interesting. Gyrus, Waker of Corpses. This is X, black, red, and green. It is a 0/0, but he comes in with 1/1 counters for the amount of mana that you cast him. So that includes your 3, the green and the red and the black. So it's not just the X. And then whenever he attacks, you may exile target creature card with a lower power from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that is a copy of that card that is tapped and also attacking, exile at the end of combat. So this is totally playing from your graveyard, playing stuff, attacking, and freaking beating face.
Yeah, this seems really cool.
It's a pretty sweet-ass Hydra.
Like, I can understand why people don't like it. Like, it gets rid of creatures from your graveyard that you can't... Like,
Play
Reanimate
again.
is probably just better. This is just, like, way more aggressive. Like, my mind instantly went to, like, Doubling Season, Parallel Lives, Warstorm Surge... And then, like, so you're doubling triggers, like, try and enter the battlefield.
Or you're playing with the, what's the one card that makes it so you end your turn and all activate abilities, all that stuff doesn't happen. Oh, but it says at the end of combat. Oh, no, you do it at the end
of combat. So you could,
so you do your combat step.
Sundial of the Infinite you're talking about?
The one where you just tap, is it tap? It's
tap one, tap it, end the turn.
And your turn, so then your tokens don't die and they stay on the battlefield. Another thing I heard...
Until the next turn, probably. Yeah.
No. It's that turn. Copy that, tapped. Exile.
It says at the end of combat.
At the end of combat.
If it said at the end of that combat...
But the creature doesn't gain that ability. It's just saying that creature.
Okay.
So actually, when you have something that's doubling, so if you have parallel lives or doubling season, the token copy doesn't get that ability.
Oh, really?
So it's only picking... That's actually, I got that from Goldfish was talking about it when they were doing their spoilers this week. They were saying, they were thinking that that's what it was, and it makes sense to me because it's making a token copy. It's talking about the first token, it's not talking about the second token.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way that it works. So that if you have a doubling season out, yeah, one of them might die, but you get to keep the other token that you're making.
And Doubling Season works with the Hydra here, too.
Oh,
like, putting more counters on it.
Yeah.
So, like, I felt like that was really quite relevant.
Go pick up your Doubling Season from Battle Bond.
Yeah. I mean, now is the time to get your Doubling Seasons. So, like, I thought this was a really cool, aggressive card. Again, like, exiling at the end of combat is kind of huge. So you want to make sure that you can... work with it, like I was saying, Warstorm Surge, sacrificing it to get some benefit out of it, because you're only going to get it until the end of combat.
Yep.
So more than likely.
All right. So we move into our next card. We have reprints from these, so we're going to skip over those ones that are new in this deck, but we've already talked about it in episode 24. So if we don't talk about it, and you're like, "What? I thought that was in that deck." Go back to episode 24 or check out the deck list because we will post the deck list here so you can actually check them out too. So
the next one we're going to talk about is Turn Timber Sower, which is a 2 colorless.
I think it's sour.
Green. It's not sour. That's not how that's. That's fine. I shouldn't have judged you. Is that why I'm getting judged?
I'm saying he's sour.
Antiquities. Antiquities. 2 colorless, 1 green, 3/3, which is already a pretty solid stats right there. It's an elf druid. Whenever one or more land cards are put into the graveyard from anywhere, create an 0/1 green plant creature token. You can pay 1 green, sacrifice 3 creatures, return target land card from your graveyard to your hand.
This is pretty sweet with Avenger of Zendikar because now you got multiple things that are making plants.
More plants.
Yeah, and they're getting bigger because you're playing land and you're sacrificing things. this is pretty sick. Like, I like this card a lot.
It feels like a smaller like Titania Protector of Argoth, because like whenever a land goes into the battlefield, you get a 5/3 elemental, and this is you get an 0/1 plant which works with Avenger. It feels really cool. I like how it can work. If you should be running fetches. What's that human guy where you sacrifice a land?
Sylvan, the hexproof guy.
Shroud.
Shroud, yeah.
Sylvan Caretaker.
Yeah,
okay.
Sylvan Caretaker. Yep.
Yeah, that feels like it could be pretty cool with this, but same thing. I think this and Titania works really well together. Gitrog's in that same deck, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Because one or more lands. Yeah, because you're putting lands in the graveyard and you're getting 0/1s for that too, and also drawing and all that fun stuff. All right, next one. This one's interesting. So it's, I think you say it Xantra.
I think it's Xancha.
Xancha, Sleeper Agent. It's 1 black and red for a 5/5, which is pretty crazy. But when she comes into play, an opponent you choose gains control of it. It cannot attack you or your planeswalker you control. And then any player may pay 3. The controller of her loses 2 life, and you draw a card. Any player may activate this ability. So
that player that pays 3 gets to draw a card, and the player that owns Xancha loses the life.
And the thing is she's a 5/5 for 3. Most likely, you're giving it to a player, and they're not going to go, well, I'm not going to attack anybody. I'm just going to sit here. Oh, but I'm going to be taking 3 damage or 2 damage, and you're going to draw a card. No, they're going to try to kill somebody.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Until
they can't kill you.
Yeah, and they can't hit you. And then
okay, think of it like this. Let's say there's like you have a Sarah Ascendant. Now, granted, that's a 6/6 lifelink flyer. If you have that like turn 1, but if this is your commander. You're like the first player, you could be having somebody attack with this 5/5 on their turn 3.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they're able to play spells on their turn as well. Like, that feels pretty good.
Yeah, I think this could be an interesting deck to build. I just don't. At the start of it, I can't think of the pieces how I want it to all work, because then it's like you're not really dealing with your commander necessarily. You're just giving it to let people let loose and F other people
3.
up.
Like, you could wait until late game, and then when
even if it's 1v1, it's
done.
still good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing it and you're paying 3
to draw cards.
Draw a card, they lose
damage.
Yeah, it's
or lose life. Yeah,
it's pretty ridiculous. And the fact that she's only 3 to come out. I mean,
feels
for a
really
5/5.
Cool. Yeah. Also, this is an older character.
Lore Time with Larry Smith. Do it in like an old Western voice.
Oh God, I wish I knew the name of the card, but the. Her flavor text is on the...
no, that's not that assassin that when it does 1 damage or deals damage.
It's a sorcery. You sacrifice a creature. You bring 2 creatures from your graveyard back into play. Not tapped. I'm blanking on that too. I do a lot of...
flavor texting.
Yeah. Flavor text is cool. That's how I get the story.
I'm surprised you haven't put it all together and
you should see me reading Playboys.
Flavor text.
I literally just read them.
Who gets Playboys anymore?
I don't think they actually printed anymore.
Well, they actually stopped and then started printing them again, I think.
Oh, it was just like a trick to...
No, it wasn't a trick. They
stopped.
They did, and then I think they were like, well, this doesn't work, so we're going to print nudie pictures again. I don't know. Anyways, we're not Playboy experts because it's called the internet.
How did they fail at the internet?
All right, you go ahead on the next one.
Blood Tracker. It is a 2/2 flying vampire wizard. 3 colorless, 1 black. You pay a black, pay 2 life, put a 1/1 counter on Blood Tracker. When Blood Tracker leaves the battlefield, draw a card for each 1/1 counter on it.
So it's like a slow greed type thing where you're waiting till it dies to draw all those cards at once because you're still paying the 2 life. It's getting bigger, so I guess you can beat face with it.
Creature.
Yeah, I guess you could beat face with it, or doubling season, whatever. Try to get multiple.
You probably don't
counters.
like it because it has to leave the battlefield.
Back to episode 24.
If you did not listen to that one, you don't get that dick joke. I think it's a solid card.
Well, the thing is with the leaves the battlefield thing, I like that so much better than dies. Because this you can blink and then it gets exiled. Doesn't matter. It's leaving the battlefield. So somebody can path it, and you still get the benefit from all that.
I think you can. This will go good in your vampire tribal decks.
Your last year Edgar deck would be perfect with this.
Yeah, exactly. If you have like a flying deck, this is probably good enough in there too.
Yeah.
So
our next card is our Red Storm card, Fury Storm, 2 red, instant. Like we said before, whenever you cast this, copy it for as many times as you cast your commander that turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. So this is your fork. You may choose new targets. So it's copying and copy and copy and doing all that fun stuff. So you get to make multiple copies of your instant or sorcery spells. But it's kind of a high casting cost if you're able to...
Well, I like it because it doesn't have to be your
spell.
spell,
It does say target.
Which a lot of these
and,
effects happen
it
recently.
does normally.
So this is... You can do anything
on somebody else's turn and take their, copy their stuff. So
yeah.
that you're going to take an extra turn. Well, I've cast my commander 4 times, and I'm going to take 5 extra turns.
Let's say somebody played Skullstorm on you, and then you cast this Fiery Storm.
Oh, man. Copy.
That would be sweet.
I get you down to 1, but I can't get you lower than 1.
1. It's a robot.
All the storms. I like all the storms.
Yeah, the storms seem really powerful and really cool.
Yeah. All right. And then our next red card.
So this is a lot of words, and I was thinking that I really liked it with Vivictus as money, like it's playing off the top of the library.
I will say I love the picture with everything in there.
It's orangutan.
You got the dinosaur in there. You got like a gang of...
Oh, this is all like unset creatures.
Yeah. So they're all freaking together. So anyways, go ahead.
It's like an anteater, a dog, an octopus. That's
an anteater, an uncircumcised penis?
No.
Isn't that what you call it?
That is one way of saying it.
Wizard sleeve.
All right, so this is 2 colorless, 2 red sorcery, reality scramble. Put target permanent you own on the bottom of your library. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card that shares a card type with that permanent. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And this has Retrace, which we haven't seen since... Is it Shadowmoor or something? Eventide, maybe?
Something like that.
But Retraces, you may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to paying its other costs. So you can turn that, like Wood Elves, potentially into a bigger creature, like if you're trying to set it up like Vivictus has money.
What if you're only playing 1 enchantment in your deck, and then you return it, and then you go through your whole deck again and you get that same card? It's not even drawing, it's reveal, so it doesn't matter. But I was trying to think of breaking ways just off the top of my head.
That would have been crazy if it wasn't random
if it was
on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Just set your entire deck.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool. Is there a card out there that says anytime you're told to do random, you can do it not randomly? Is that like an uncard?
I do it random all the time.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't have the patience to like set it up.
No, you didn't get where I was going with that. Anyways, never.
I still don't.
It was a sex joke, Larry. It was a sex joke.
That's not fair. You should talk with your partner about that stuff.
It's spontaneous.
Whoops.
That's not my... Okay, anyways. I don't know. It seems like a interesting card. Not my favorite so far of all these.
The Retrace is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, being able to cast it. You exile it at that point then? You only get to retrace it once, right?
No, you get to retrace it.
Oh, you keep doing it again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, next is Crash of Rhino Beetles. 4 and a green. This is an insect with trample. 5/5. It gets 10/10 as long as you control 10 or more lands. So you can potentially turn this into a 15/15.
Seems pretty cool.
For
5 mana?
Yeah.
5 mana, 5/5 trampler. Not an awful thing to have. With the added bonus at late game, potentially. Think about just end of the game, near the end of the game, pay 5 mana, put a 15/15 trampler.
That could be the winner.
That feels pretty good.
Yeah. Give it haste and you're good.
Good to go. Lightning Greaves that you don't have in these decks.
Bitter.
I don't like coffee. Loyal Guardian. It's a 4 colorless, 1 green, 4/4 trampler lieutenant. And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Seems pretty basic.
Yeah, that's pretty good, though. I like it better than getting the 1/1 flying artifact.
Yeah, well, there's 5 mana, so it's going to be
a little more expensive,
bit more powerful. I think this would be solid in like an Atraxa deck. Giving all your creatures 1/1 counters doesn't seem bad.
Yeah.
Again, it probably only go in that, like, it's not a everything all-star or anything, but it can go all right in +1/+1 counter decks.
Next, we have Nesting Dragon, 3, 2 red. It is a flying 5/4, has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create an 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with Defender. Hey, Defender! Too bad it won't go
red.
in that
Doesn't
because
work in...
it's red.
Yeah.
When this creature dies, create a 2/2 dragon creature with flying that gets fire breathing, which means tap 1 red, and it gets 1/0 until end of turn. That seems pretty sweet, actually. A bunch of 0/2s. You gotta kill them, though. There goes your
but
sack.
you got a bunch of like
potential dragon whelps
tokens that are just blockers. They have to get through that somehow, and if they die, you're getting 2/2 flyers. That feels
fire
really
breathing.
Good.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a little bit of hoops, but I think that's well worth it. Just landfall on a 5/4 flyer for 5, getting a creature is solid. So.
And yet again, another creature dragon that is better than Shivan Dragon, which was our big bad boy when we were growing up. But
all dragons are better than
I
Shivan
know
Dragon
Shivan Dragon's now just terrible. All right, next one.
Can't wait until they reprint Volcanic Dragon again. 4/4 flying haste.
Haste.
6.
What?
Sweet.
No way.
Okay. Windgrace's Judgment. 3 colorless, black, green. It's an instant. For any number of opponents, destroy target non-land permanent that player controls.
That's pretty sweet. But it's one person each. You get to destroy a non-land?
So you get 1 permanent for each opponent. Instant speed is nice.
I do like that.
But I was just kind of thinking, like, normally if I use like Maelstrom Pulse or something, I'm gonna hit like a lot more relevant things. So like if somebody's playing tokens, Maelstrom Pulse is just better. Everybody, you hit 1 Lightning Greaves, you're going to at least get 1 more Soul Rings. You just, I don't know. 5 mana seems like a lot to destroy 2 to 3 things.
It's a new removal type thing.
Yeah.
Instant. I know. It's 5.
Yeah.
You're going to hold yourself up 5.
5 is the hard thing.
Yeah.
If it was 4, I'd probably like it a lot better.
If it was 3, I'd like it a lot better.
I don't think that's reasonable.
All right, Emissary of Grudges is our next card. 5 and a red. It is an Ifrit. Flying haste 6/5. That in itself is pretty sweet. But when you cast him, choose a player or enters the battlefield, you choose an opponent secretly. Reveal that player you choose. Choose new targets for target spell or ability if it's controlled by the chosen player. And if it targets you or a permanent you control, activate this ability only once. So you can only do it 1 time. It's kind of like we had the secret thing from last Commanders.
Leonin, blah, blah, blah.
Yep, the blah, blah, blah
Deuter.
one. Yeah.
Leonin Deuter.
But this in itself, the body on that 6/5 flying haste is pretty badass in itself, and then you get a little bonus to what? Oh, you're wondering about my computer making noise?
Yeah, your computer's making noise. Is it alive?
I thought you were like looking like I read something wrong. I was like, what?
I can't read that. That's pretty far away.
But it's interesting. It's not insane, but it's another secret, our second of our secrets.
Secret window.
So we had a white one, now we have a red one.
Don't worry about it. What?
It was an okay movie.
I don't know if that. I watched it in Mexico, and there was like
it was
no
in
subtitles.
Spanish, so you didn't understand it.
Really rough. I didn't get it.
And we move into our next commander of this box.
So Thantis the War Weaver, 3 colorless, black, green, and red. It's a 5/5 vigilance reach. All creatures attack each combat if able. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a 1/1 counter on Thantis the War Weaver.
I would like this a lot better if it said put a 1/1 counter on all your creatures. See, I like that.
Crazy.
I like to revamp these cards.
Yeah, that's way too good. That wouldn't happen. I like that it has vigilance. And reach is obviously perfect with the spider
picture.
I'm not a huge fan of making everybody attack, because again, it generally just has people attack
you.
And the War Reaver is going to kill something.
And you have the 2 colors that won't make you, that aren't in it, that will make people stop with the Ghostly Prison and Propaganda. So you don't have those 2 colors. So
you're just having people attack you, and you're hoping you have enough to be able to block, but you basically got to give all of your Jund color creatures vigilance somehow, or like untapping. That might make more sense. But I feel like you're just going to get left open, and you're just going to get piled on with this card. If you have friends that like you, maybe they'll not kill you with it. That you have it, but it just that does nothing for me.
Yeah. And then our last of the new stuff, it is Whiptongue Hydra, 5 and a green. It is a 4/4 reach. It's a lizard Hydra. What?
I hit my mic.
Oh, you keep hitting it. It's a lizard Hydra. When it enters the battlefield, destroy all creatures with flying. Put a 1/1 counter on Whiptongue Hydra for each creature destroyed this way. It's kind of sweet because it shows this huge, like, what was your gecko lizard thing? Yeah. That's a Hydra, but it's like taking down a dragon with its tongue, which is pretty sweet.
Taking down a dragon?
Yeah, that's a freaking dragon up there.
Probably Shivan Dragon.
Oh, yeah. It has to die.
Shivan Dragon's the worst.
So that kind of wraps up that block or that box there. What was that one? That one is the Nature's Vengeance. Some cards to note.
Relevant reprints.
Which isn't a lot in this one.
Not a ton. I kind of stretched it. But Avenger of Zendikar is getting reprinted, which was an obvious one. You had Decimate, which is a great card. Death Reap Ritual. Sakura Tribe Elder, and Bajuka Bog.
Some of the stuff I think you should go after if you're building this deck or a deck similar to this. Like I mentioned earlier, Gitrog monsters. The regulars are actually on a spike, not spike. They're on the rise right now. They've gone from $2 to over $5. So
which ones?
Gitrog monster.
Oh yeah.
The Gitrog monster. It's actually when you go to search for it, if you try to type in Gitrog, it won't pull up anything. You got to do the Gitrog monster on some of these searches. But anyways, the foils is more of what I'm focused on.
Do you think he's from Ohio State?
The Ohio State.
Yeah.
Nice. The foils is what I'm going for. They've already spiked up to 20. This wasn't because of this. It spiked up a couple months ago up to 20. I was able to pick up a few of them for $16 to $19, but I can see the foils of Gitrog going up even higher, $30, $40.
Yeah, legends are gonna generally like. There's a lot of people that like him as a commander.
Yeah, he's a really good commander.
Because the frog is a him, and
there's testes on that. I saw him.
You don't have a.
I have him. He's my commander.
He must be a biologist somehow. Must be that big throat he has.
Yeah. It's a male Gitrog. But yeah, that would be one. And then also, they actually reprinted this in this set, but the Avenger of Zendikar, I'm saying you can go after the foils of those guys.
The dual deck one?
Yeah, the dual deck, because you can get those for the same price as what they're going for, about $6.
But I think that'll go the other way. It's different art, foiling process.
And actually in this, it's different art as well, but it's a regular. So,
oh, is it?
Yeah, they use that same art. Let's see. I'll pull that up really quick. Where are you, Avenger of Zendikar? Those are spells. Avenger of Zendikar. Oh, not on this one. It didn't show it.
Nope. Yeah, and that's the proper. That's the proper picture.
That's the
so
that's
one. The original.
So yeah, the foil one of the dual decks is a different art, but they're 7. Whereas you take the Zendikar ones are $20+ and those are going up too. So these might take a little bit longer. I think Gitrog's going to go really quick. So, but that's a good add to this deck. I'm surprised that they didn't put Gitrog in.
I think if you're trying to juice up this deck a little bit more, like. The problem that I see is you're putting a lot of lands into your graveyard, but you're not getting a lot of lands back from your graveyard.
So they did Ravenous Excavator and
obviously you're not going to put like Crucible Worlds in there, but yeah, you didn't put Life of the Loam is maybe a questionable one, but Ravenous Excavator you could have done. I mean, they didn't even do I want to say it's like Groundskeeper, which is like pay green and colorless, return a basic land from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah,
like they didn't. It's only Windgrace that basically brings lands back. And
so
then
they're
I
just
guess
banking
that
on your commander to do it all.
Yeah, which is rough.
Yeah, you got to make sure that he's actually in play.
So I don't know. I felt like this one was kind of shoddy made a little bit.
But it can be easily revamped if you could keep this deck pretty, not similar, but you could take 10, 20 pieces out and put better ones in, like we're saying now.
Focus it a little bit more.
And you could make this deck actually really good. Yeah, so do we move into the next one, or is there anything else we want with that? Any more notable stuff?
Yeah, that's fine. I won't complain specifically about any cards.
All right, the next one is Adaptive Enchantment, and is it me reading the commander? Yeah. Oh man, this one's very small printing for me. Estrid the Masked. This is 1 green, white, blue. It is, her name is Legendary Planeswalker Estrid. She comes in with 3 loyalty, +2, untap each permanent you control, each enchanted permanent you control. So anything that has enchantment on it. -1, create a white aura enchantment token named Mask. Attach it to any other permanent that you control. That token is an enchant permanent, blah, blah, blah. Has Totem Armor, which we kind of mentioned as one of the things that we wanted to come with the enchantment. What that means is if that permanent is being destroyed, destroy the Totem Armor first before your permanent is destroyed. Then if it gets destroyed again, you're screwed. -7, put the top 7 cards of your library into your graveyard. Return all non-aura enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then do the same thing for aura cards. So this one you had mentioned when we were talking about it could go infinite with...
It goes infinite with
a lot
Chain
of things.
Veil.
Oh yeah, Chain Veil was that.
And that's kind of, I'm guessing that's why the Chain Veil has been going up. It's over 20 now.
Yeah.
But basically what you do is
a card that I said could be replaced by Oath of Teferi, and then ever since I said that, it's just been going up. It's like, damn it! Why did I say that?
We are legit. So what you do is you Totem Armor Chain Veil, then you activate Chain Veil, which allows you to untap any untap Chain Veil, which and then you need some auras on lands.
Yeah, you need some lands that give you 4.
And basically, you can just continue to use a Chain Veil, which allows you to continue to use Estrid. And if you can't win that way, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So you just ultimate a bunch of times while you're leaving 1 loyalty up, and then you just kind of keep on doing it.
Yeah. So this one seems interesting. I like the idea of being able to put these Totem Armors on any permanent you have. Yeah, so you can do it on your land, you can do it on anything, and they untap. So it seems very interesting.
I really I didn't like this one to begin with. I'm more intrigued with like the untapping of enchanted permanents. I think that's I've always liked Derefi, Imperial Tactician, which is like a bunch of untapping stuff, and I feel like I really like that, or like Seaborn Muse, or there's multiple cards that allow you to untap.
Yeah,
I've always kind of liked that little bit of a theme. So it would have been nice if they would have maybe enforced that a little bit more in this, but that's fine.
Lowry's grudges.
I'm just saying they should hire me and I help them.
All right, why don't you start us off with our first new card besides our commander?
Estrid's Invocation, which is an enchantment for 2 colorless and a blue. You may have Estrid's Invocation enter the battlefield as a copy of any enchantment you control, except it gains at the beginning of your upkeep. You may exile this enchantment. If you do, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control.
So it's like a clone or a doppelganger enchantment guy.
Well, there's copy enchantment, and that's from Ravnica block.
But that's what I'm saying, doppelganger, because doppelganger kind of you can switch it like whenever.
Flip it back and forth. Yeah. It does seem really cool that like it comes into play and it can copy any enchantment that you're running, and then you can make it better as you're going along. So that seems like a really cool ability there. I like it a lot.
Next is Everwatching Threshold, 2 and a blue enchantment as well. Whenever an opponent attacks you and or a planeswalker you control with 1 or more creatures, draw a card. Now that means if they attack with 5 creatures, you're still just drawing a card? Or is it 1 or more?
I believe so, yeah. It's just a card. Whatever, this is better than propaganda. Just kidding, JK. LOL.
The next one I friggin' really love. I like this card a lot. This card is... I'm surprised it's only at 5 right now, but it's not even out yet, so never mind. But yeah, this card is bonkers.
So Myth Unbound enchantment, 2 colorless, 1 green. Your commander costs 1 less to cast for each time it has been cast from the command zone this game. Whenever your commander is put into the command zone from anywhere, draw a card.
It's just ridiculous.
It's cheap. It's it's basically mana ramp. Like it just makes commander attacks 1 instead of 2.
Yeah.
And then drawing cards, if people are targeting your commanders, quite good as well.
I would say it would be almost in an every green commander deck, but then I feel like this is more of you're expecting your commander to go to the command zone a lot, like type of thing, to really take advantage of it, more of what comes to mind. What's the black-green dude that goes... his commander, the counters don't leave. Grant plays
Skullbriar?
Yeah. So it's something
that'd be kind of cool there.
Kind of going to the graveyard or going to your command zone a lot. You're taking advantage of the draw ability, but then you're also not getting a really big disadvantage with the one, each time you're casting. It's something that's low casting cost. I think it's good with any really commander because there's that threat then if somebody's going to kill your commander off, you're like, well, I get to draw a card with that if you kill it.
It feels like great value all around. So I think playing around with it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. Next one, Ravenous Slime, 2 and a green. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. If a creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and put that many 1/1 counters on the slime for equal to their power. Sorry, I'm summarizing it because I know what it does. I was just trying to summarize it. So basically, when a creature dies, an opponent's creature dies, you exile their creature instead of it going to the graveyard, and you get 1/1 counters for its power. It can't be blocked by little 1/1s or 2/2s or whatever. So this is pretty sweet.
I think it's a really good card. It reminds me of Crush of the Bloodbraided.
Yeah.
But then also Scavenger Ooze by exiling creatures and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool card. It's really aggressively costed. The 1/1 part of it is not that bad of a drawback. And so because
it can get big really quick.
Yeah. The weird thing is this didn't feel like it belonged in the Bant deck. It felt like it was going to be in the Jund deck, and they're like, no, these cards are too good. we can't have this Jund deck be the best. Let's move them. Because I was thinking Varchild from the red blue one was like, why in the shit is this in the artifact deck? Those both felt Jund, and then they were just like, no, let's make Jund the worst one again.
Yeah.
They don't deserve to be good.
All right. And then our first... Is it our first commander? Yes. Besides our actual commander. Our next general.
Yeah. Tsubasa the Sunlight, which looks like she came from Ixalan, but she's... she, merfolk. Green,
lipstick,
white, blue.
I see it.
Yeah. They're kind of painted there, so it doesn't matter. It's a 1/1, so it's
boobs.
green, white, blue. No, you don't. It's covered up. It's Merfolk Shaman. Did I say that wrong? Right? Shaman? Can I say Shaman?
You can say Shaman. Shaman.
Don't tell me what to say.
You just asked.
I asked. I didn't ask you to tell me.
I'll just sit here silently.
Tsubasa the Sunlight gets 1/1 for each enchantment you control. Whenever you cast your first enchantment spell each turn, draw a card.
I wish it was every time you cast an enchantment. But
yeah, I don't know why it's the first time.
Because they don't want you to abuse it.
They don't want you to play like Arcades and draw a bunch of walls and keep on playing.
Are you bitter?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, she seems pretty interesting though. Working with an enchantment deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish you could draw more than just your first one.
I feel like it's a bit weak. So there's one that they're printing here. I don't know if it's Yavamaya's Yada Yada Enchantress.
Oh.
Yavamaya's
the reprint. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 2 colorless, green, 2/2. It gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you play.
Yeah.
And so it's 1/2 of the Tsubasa the Sunlit, but it starts out as it's a 1/1, but it's 3 different colors, and you only get to draw 1 card.
Yeah. So you're building a deck is what you're saying.
No, no, probably not. I mean, if we have to, I will. But I just feel like it's maybe a little underpowered because of the part that you mentioned, like just the first enchantment.
Yeah.
I feel like you should really kind of be able to abuse that one.
The next one, this one's pretty interesting. I like this.
I think it's cool.
A Rick Myth.
Good luck.
Slumbering Isle. I'm just going to call him Slumbering Isle. How about that? 2 green and blue. It is a legendary creature, Kraken. The Kraken.
Yeah,
it's a 12/12, but when it enters the battlefield, you put... it enters the battlefield with 5. Is it 5 counters? Yeah, slumber counters on it.
He's sleepy.
And he actually enters tapped. As long as he has counters on it, it's a land. When you cast a spell, you may remove a slumber counter from him, and his ability is tap to give you a blue and a green. So he comes in tapped, so you can't use him right away. But then he's basically a 2-land. You know, it's your bounce lands.
Yeah, bounce lands come into play tapped.
So he's bounce land, but then if he's your commander, man, I mean, you got a 12/12 when he comes out. 2 swings and somebody's dead.
And a lot of removal says non-land creature.
Yeah.
So as he's building up and you're getting rid of those slumber counters, they can't just kind of go and get rid of them.
Yeah.
And he helps you cast spells as well. So I think he's a really well-balanced card. Now, I wish he was always a land. So, like, legendary creature land.
Oh.
That would have been really cool.
So you could go search for him and everything, too?
Yeah, like a crop rotation.
Yeah, that'd be pretty... But then I was thinking more of him as your commander, so you can swing 2 times and they're dead or whatever.
I wouldn't have any problem with that either. So
and helping you in the process.
I'm not sure. Like, there's only one other like land creature in my mind, and that's Dryad Arbor.
There's the morphing one too, the colorless one. Wasn't that from
Zodiac Cavern?
Yeah,
that's just a land that
comes in as a morph.
It morphs as a 2/2. You can just play it as a land.
Yeah.
So, but it's
the only one
type is only land.
And that one's actually a forest. The one you were talking about. So
creature forest.
If you have your fetch lands, you can go fetch for that.
I can see why you don't fetch this one.
Yeah, go fetch and get a 12/12. You just talked yourself out of it. All right, let's go into our. We're hitting all the commanders, the generals in this right away. This is the one I thought was a god in the pictures.
Yeah. So this is definitely from Theros. Cassia, the Cultivator. It's 1 colorless, green, white, blue, legendary enchantment creature, nymph. 4/4. It has bestow, 3 colorless, green, white, blue, and so it can turn into an aura.
Yeah.
Enchanted creature gets +4/+4, and whenever an enchanted creature or enchantment creature you control attacks, draw a card. See again that attack trigger happening, and so I don't. This feels really cool. The bestow seems good. I guess the question that I don't know is like, is the bestow, would that have a commander tax on it as well?
Oh. So
like you play her for 4 and then you play her for 6 and then you just bestow her the rest of the time?
Oh, that's an interesting question on that.
Or would the first time she dies at 4, would that bestow go to 8?
Try to remember to look that up when we're done with this podcast so we can put it on the note.
I'm just gonna
somebody else correct us. And,
if you want to tweet at us, we'll find it in about 3-4 days, and then maybe we'll reply.
No, I'm checking it. I had to tell you that you had another song request, but I didn't check it.
That's true.
But yeah, so yeah, that'd be interesting to figure out, because if you were to cast a spell for its bestow cost, I think you would add the additional 2.
Yeah, so then the bestow just feels bad at that point. Like, I don't know if I wouldn't want to play her for 8. I don't think
for giving somebody else 4. Yeah, might as well just keep her a creature herself. Yeah. All right. Next one. We have a couple of reprints from that. So then we get our first new totem armor. This is Octopus Umbra.
Yeah, that thing's sweet.
3 and 2 blue enchant creature. Enchant creature has base power and toughness 8/8, and has whenever this creature attacks, you may tap target creature with power 8 or less. And then it has totem armor, which I explained earlier what totem armor does. So that's pretty sweet. You're giving a freaking creature an 8/8 that taps down another creature that has less power than that.
It's an 8/8 for 5.
Yeah.
It seems really good.
It's like your next best thing when compared to Eldrazi conscription kind of thing for
It
getting
might
your
be.
stuff.
This is actually playable though. Like you just want to like cheat
Eldrazi conscription out.
This you can just like play if it ends up in your hand. You can do conscription as well. That's kind of a game ender, but it's like 8 or 10 to cast.
Yeah.
So
I believe it's 8. Might as
so
well look it up.
It's a really powerful aura. I think that's pretty cool. Next one, Imperial Storm. Another one of those storm cards. It is 4 colorless, 2 white sorcery. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. And then you can create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. So if you just cast your commander one time,
You get 2 4/4s.
You get 2 4/4s for 6 mana. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then we'll jump into that, go into Genesis Storm. Oh, by the way, Eldrazi conscription is 8. I did look it up, yep. Genesis Storm, so this is the green. This is the last one of our storms. And this is 4 and 2 green. Like Larry said, you get to copy it for how many times you cast your commander. The ability is reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent card. You may put that card onto the battlefield, then put all the cards revealed this way that weren't put on the battlefield on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's pretty sweet. I mean, this is your, not Genesis Wave, it's your Genesis Hydra, where you're getting one card. Yeah, it's a non-land
I would
permanent.
say this is probably, it might be the best one, but it might be the worst one too.
They're all pretty decent.
Yeah,
they're all
the
usable.
Randomness part kind of, if you can set up your deck, I feel like, again, this is one that they could have put in the Jund deck. And they're like, no. we got to make the enchantment one better.
All right, let's move into our angel. This one's pretty interesting.
Agreed. Heavenly Blade Master. 5 colorless, 1 white. It's an angel, 3/6. Flying, double strike. When Heavenly Blade Master enters the battlefield, you may attach any number of auras and equipments you control to it. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to Heavenly Blade Master.
That's pretty sick.
That feels like a lot.
Yeah.
But it feels really awesome.
The fact that you can attach everything as soon as she comes into play and then all your creatures get that much bigger?
Yeah.
That's sick.
It goes with equipments.
I was going to say, you could just do a straight up equipment deck and it doesn't matter.
This could go in Doran. That'd be a 6/6 flying double strike for 6. That's damn good.
Yeah, and that's the other part. It's double strike. I mean, that's
why they
sick.
double strike it?
Yeah.
That was good without it.
And then we finish up with Nyla's Colossus, and this is 6 and a green, enchant creature giant. It's a 6/6. So whenever Nyla's Colossus or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Yeah, you can do some stuff with this.
Yeah, 7 mana. Constellation's decent. They just didn't really flesh it out very much, so there's not a whole ton that does it. So like they did reprint like Eidolon of Blossoms, and so that's whenever it or an enchantment comes into play, you draw a card.
Yeah.
So that has Constellation.
Gotcha.
And so that always deals with just like
I haven't seen that one as much. That one's a little bit more rare to see. Okay, so what's our reprints on this one?
Notable reprints, Bruna, Light of Alabaster, which is similar to that Heavenly Blade Master, just getting all the auras. You got Hydra Omnivore, Martial Coup, Enchantress's Presence, which is probably one of your best reprints out of all the boxes, along with Bear Umbra, which is another great card. That one just kind of went up because of the Najila decks that started popping up from Battle Bond.
And it is a good card.
And it's a great card. I love the card.
We talked about did we talk about it in the green? Might have been an honorable mention.
It was at least an honorable mention.
We had it on a list. If we didn't talk about it, it was on the close to be, or it just got cut.
It almost was, yeah.
Yeah, so
we would have been geniuses if we do have it.
So yeah, those are those. But what are some of the notable ones with this? I only had really 2. I just kind of went quick with this. Was Sovereigns of Lost Alara. Go for the regulars because the foils just spiked. So too late on the foils. And then, like I talked about before, Eldrazi Conscription. That is the colorless aura that is 8 to come out, but you give your creature 10/10 trample and Annihilator 2. So
yeah, that seems like a lot.
if you can go search for it and put it on for free, that's pretty sick. And I think that card will go up. Just the regulars are 13 and the foils are 23. So I think this has room to grow. What do you got?
I was thinking, so I mentioned this last time, but it's Flickering Ward and Shimmering Wings. They're both, it's a white, Flickering Ward is 1 white aura, gives a creature protection from any color that you say, and then you can pay 1 white to return it back to your hand. So that allows you to kind of go back and forth with like Constellation or Sigil of the Empty Throne and get those enchantment triggers like Tsubasa the Sunlight, like you're drawing a card off of playing it, so you always have an enchantment to be able to play. Shimmering Wings is just blue, gives a creature flying, pay a blue, return it. And I was thinking foil version of that, 10th edition. I think if you want to go after foil enchantresses, just type in Enchantress and then look for the foils. Some of them could be pretty good buys. Helm of the Gods, foil version of that, and that's an equipment that gives your creature +1/+1 for each enchantment that you control. Sterling Grove is an absolute must in my mind. Gives all your enchantment Shroud for green and a white, and then you can pay 1, sacrifice it, and go and search for any enchantment and put that into your hand. You had mentioned Opalescence last week, and I think that's a proper card, and same thing with Starfield and Nyx. I think that would work really well. And then Land Untappers with that Leviathan land thingy, being able to just tap it, untap it for a bunch of stuff could be pretty cool too. Yeah,
there's quite a few cards that you actually could have in this.
I would look into like Bruno Light of Alabaster decks and then Ural the Miststalker decks and see which ones fit the colors. And I think that can help you gauge on, they're already used in a bunch of decks. They're probably going to be used more, and so the demand's going to be higher because it's spread out among 3 decks instead of 2. And you can look.
You could also use Sovereigns as a jump off point too to see what kind of cards go with that. That's what I just pulled up on EDH. Can do that,
but like Sovereigns isn't a
legendary
deck. Yeah. You could also go with Zur the Enchanter, which is blue white. So all of those hit at least 2 of the colors of this right here.
Yeah. There's quite a few. That's actually I started writing. I was like, there's just too much to actually write down for these. So there's a lot to go off of on these. There's a lot of ideas, different stuff to go off of, but that's just kind of a jumping point. What I mentioned and Lowry mentioned there, if you wanted to tweak this deck a little bit and make it your own, because that's a lot of these precons.
They allow you to go whatever direction you kind of want. Yeah. There's generally 3 different ways of going.
And they're decent enough where if you change out a few cards, you can be really competitive with it. It's not going to be tier 1, but you're still going to be competitive and have fun if you're playing with your buddies or whatever.
Yeah. And generally, if you go and buy if you and 3 other buddies go out and buy a box apiece, it's going to be fun. It's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
They're generally really well built decks when it's amongst each other.
Yeah. So overall, what do you think about these decks?
I think I've already said it. I'm pretty disappointed with like the reprints. Just bringing up the overall like quality of the deck would have been really nice, like they have in the past. But I do think that they made some really good like new cards.
Yeah. I think part of what I had kind of mentioned before is them making the Planeswalkers the commanders might have something to do with why they didn't do as good of reprints, because they feel, I don't know. I'm not speaking for them, but I'm like, it almost feels that way. They're like, well, we made these Planeswalkers your commanders, so we're not gonna hype these up too much because these are probably going to be really expensive. I don't know. So there's a lot that can be done with them. I like these. They're not my favorite of the commanders that have come out over the past couple years, I would say. I liked partner commanders better. Is that a Trexa and everything?
Yep.
Last year's commanders, they're pretty good. I mean, we got our dragons, we got our tribal and everything. Everybody loves that. I like this almost better because it gives me a lot of variety of stuff, whereas tribal is like, you got tribal, you know? Like,
yeah, tribal's pretty straightforward. I was kind of thinking like, I like the new cards, but there's not a ton of the legends that I want to like build with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, there's like 3 that caught my eye where I'm like, yeah, that'd be kind of fun to build a deck with.
Yeah, and I think you're just going to see a ton of ninja decks.
Hell yeah.
So I think that's cool.
Well, I mean, just talking me and you about that, there's 2 ways that we were both thinking of doing it. I was thinking more of enter the battlefield type of cards that would you give like equipment or give them unblockability so that they get through, but then those are the cards that are getting returned to your hand, and then you're again casting them for more value. You were thinking
I was going to go with cheap evasion creatures similar to like how like Edric, Emissary of Trest is kind of built or can be built, and then you're able to ninja back and forth and do a bunch of stuff and have. So
you were going more off of
like abilities,
the ninja stuff,
ninjas back to your hand.
So yeah, so there's a couple different ways. Just us two talking about it. We were like, oh, this is how I would do it, and you're like, that's how I would do it. So I mean, there's probably even more. I mean, there is. This is going to be a pretty sweet commander, but there's a couple of them, and we're not talking about the planeswalkers, right? We're just saying the legendary creatures in general. I think there's 2 or 3 of them that I could build in a deck.
Yeah,
it doesn't make me excited where like I want to build. I do want to build a ninja deck because I've never used that ability. I think that's kind of one thing that.
And the cool thing about the ninjas are like the ninja jutsu that gets around your commander tags.
Yeah,
and so that's kind of cool. I like the Theros legend that like draws you cards whenever you attack type thing. It feels,
and the zombie one you were liking.
I do really like the zombie one. I think that's going to be pretty cool. But again, like tribal does it doesn't it's not too different. It's just like being able to use my zombie cards.
Yeah. I think that the token one is going to be really fun. That one I'm actually excited about to try to build that.
The Hydra?
Making the tokens and then at the beginning of your combat.
The red, blue.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. Oh, so again, my friend Nick, who I was talking with, he brought up a really good point. Like, just think if you had like Kikijiki copy Inferno Titan token, then make all of your tokens Inferno Titan tokens attack with everything. Jeez. Yeah, that'd
be
just
great.
whatever you copy with Kikijiki and then turn them all into that. You could do the same thing with Splinter Twin. That seems pretty cool. Like
it's on color too.
Yeah, you're not going super tokeny, but like
just make it. Yeah,
you can just turn whatever value creature you have into just crazy stuff. Just even Frost Titan would be crazy. Yeah. Turn
tap,
5 into Frost Titan's attack, tap down everything for a bunch and hit, for 26, 20.
Yeah.
6.
You're dead.
Okay. 30. There we go. 30. That's math.
Yeah, so overall, I'm not disappointed that we're buying these at all. I'm just
No.
I'm glad to get all these cards. I'm actually happy that I don't have to worry about. That's the one thing about Commanders. You're getting all these cards. You don't have to worry about opening a box and finding these cards in the box. You have every single one of them if you're buying all the boxes here.
And I think I wish that they made 5 still, but I understand like people generally play in packs of 4, and also it does feel like there's not nearly as bad
of cards
as a bad deck.
They made them
They're not spreading it out as
a lot
much.
stronger.
Because like Jund was pretty bad on the last like time that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they always had, when it was 5, there was always one that was just like super weak where they're like, oh man, we gotta make it fit.
How are we gonna dump this one?
How do we get rid of this?
Yeah.
So I feel like the power level has kind of gone up spread across, but it doesn't mean that I'm like super happy about the weak reprints.
So overall, what's your favorite one? We're kind of got to wrap up here. Actually, I shouldn't have gone into another question.
Why'd you ask?
I don't know.
Where are we?
We're at our time there. We're time to wrap up. But what's your overall? What's the one you're going to want to play first?
I'm an Atu. I want to go Esper.
Damn
I think
you,
that one's
Scuba
Is that
Steve.
what you wanted?
I can go with.
No, we can choose the same thing.
No, that's all right. I might do.
Yeah, you don't want to do Jund.
No. I might actually try the masks. That might be the one I try.
The enchantment one was going to be my number 2,
Yeah.
so we're not too far off from each other. I think the Jund one just seems uninspired.
I want to use Saheeli's commander the most, not Saheeli herself. I wanted to use the Brutaclad dude the most. That's my
And
my peed on. If we were going to pee on stuff, this is the one I would just piss all over. That's you with a fire hose. All right. Stop bragging, Lowry.
It's a huge urethra.
That's pretty much it. It's just an open urethra. All right. Well, this is that should wrap up for this week, episode 25. You can follow us on CommanderSmiths on Twitter. Yeah, whatever. However I said that. Follow us on Twitter at CommanderSmiths.
And you can email us at gmail.com, CommanderSmiths.
Now they're gonna fuck it up. And then YouTube, subscribe, like, follow, all that fun stuff on YouTube. I'd
rather just watch.
Just watch us. Creepy. Anyways,
just watch us talk with no video. It's not. I don't even know why we say watch.
But it is watching.
Yeah.
So,
they're
anyways,
probably watching like a movie in the background, in the forefront. We're in the background. I hope it's like Back to the Future.
Why Back to the Future?
It's a great movie.
Just completely random. Is it because you said back and then background, so you thought Back to the Future?
It could be word association. Whatever. This one isn't planned out.
That should wrap up this week's episode. We will see you guys right now it's a couple weeks for us, but a week.
Yeah.
So.
We hope you enjoyed, and you'll be able to play this stuff the next week after you listen to this.
Oh yeah, so our next podcast would be after we play maybe these. No,
yeah, we'll try and play a little bit. Yeah, we're not going to have our 4, but I was going to
pick up one. Yeah, get a 5th one
just
anyways.
so that we get it in.
Yeah. So all right, well we will see you guys next time.
All right, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.